Good day and welcome back to the podcast. If you've been a member of this platform for more than a minute, you would know, actually, let me be frank, if you've been a part of this community for more than a week, you would know that I've recently had an epiphany, a parenting epiphany. And I'm on this journey of rediscovery, on learning and learning new things about this subject matter. And as part of that journey, I've, stumbled across a question amongst many that I'll share with us in the coming weeks and months. And the question is, what would I have done differently if I was parenting a teenager? Or let me throw this in, a tweenager in 2023. For those who don't know what a tween is any boy or girl between the ages of 9 and 12. A very interesting stage of our children's development. That age is wild. No other word. Okay? So what if I was parenting a teenager or tweenager? What would I do differently in 2023? The first thing that I would do, and I had to give this so much thought, is that I will prioritize open communication. And I say that because it's something that we share all the time, on this platform about communication between parent and the young one. So I'll prioritize open communication, positive discipline, and I would definitely embrace technology for educational purposes. So it will be targeted. Totally targeted at renewing our kids' mind technologically and educationally, okay? Another thought, at least these are the things that I came up with, I will recognize the importance of mental health. And it's something that folks from our lovely continent, Africa, we tend to push aside. We just, this is not a thing for us. And that's definitely part of our cultural heritage, which is sad. But again, you don't know. And so if I was parenting a teenager or a teenager in 2023, having known now what I know, I would definitely recognize the importance of mental health. I will foster inclusivity, bring them along, take them along, get into their world, and I will adapt to the societal norms in 2023 and not package or repackage what we have learned over the years, from our own culture, okay? It's sincerely refreshing to know that we can pick up and run with things that are modern, okay? Another thing that I will do, I will also be considerate, for a more contemporary parental or parenting approach. Now, there's so many things that we have learned from our folks. And I said this in my intro video a week ago. There's so many things that, in fact, some things that we've inherited. It's almost like it's in our DNA, that it's so hard to let go of. And so in 2023, I would definitely look to, take on a more contemporary parenting approach. And I'll break that down at some point as we go on, okay? Another thing, having done this for over 4 years now, by this I mean having hosted you lot for 4 years, I will certainly emphasize digital literacy, okay? Encourage critical thinking and knowing what tech has done to our young ones. I will definitely promote a balance between online and offline activities. These are crucial things that I will not take for granted 1 second, okay? So we have those 4 that I've shared now. Let's start digging deeper into the ones that I feel may touch home a lot closer, okay? I will encourage a healthy relationship with technology. It has to be healthy. Gone are those days where you feel that you're getting on the side of your young one by just releasing them into their world. And by world, I mean you release them into their room, in their space. You give them privacy, and you say it's okay because at least they're engaged. They're using the iPad I bought. They're using the, laptop I bought. That's not healthy. Certainly not healthy because they're going solo at that young age, okay? So I will encourage a healthy relationship with tech. And these are some of the things that I've also found, the things I'm about to say now, that I wish I was taught these things when I was younger. I will teach my young one, my tween or teen, financial literacy. Financial literacy. I'll make sure that they know a lot about finance. How do I manage my money? How do I, how do I spend? How do I save? Things that honestly at that age, or certainly at my age, I was not introduced to. Even though I was seeing my folks do it, but it wasn't impressed on me. And these are the things that I would definitely do different in 2023. Another important step that I would do differently, definitely, and now this is why I'm bringing it back home. And if you clicked this video, this is the bit that I'm targeting. All the other bits are important, but this is where I'm going. The thing that I will do, one important step that I will do differently in 2023 would be, instead of punishment, I will consider focusing on positive discipline, like I've mentioned, open communication, and teaching moments. I may have done some of these things in some measure, but nowhere near how often and how much I needed to do it. Because again, if you are like me and you were exposed for many years to a certain type of upbringing, punishment and reward were things that were just packaged into that system. And I, like I mentioned in the intro video a week ago, I'm not blaming my folks for doing what they knew to do because they inherited it. So in a way, I'm breaking that chain and embracing the modern way. And it is still an effective way. So I will consider focusing, instead of punishment, I'll consider focusing on positive discipline, open communication, and teaching moments. I will build a supportive and understanding relationship with my tween or teen, without a doubt. Like I've mentioned, many of us, certainly those who are subscribed to this platform, we've grown up knowing only one way, and that might be slightly aggressive, but we've known a certain way to instill discipline into our kids. And I'm using the word punishment in a broad sense, okay? Make of it what you desire. But if parenting in 2023, I will certainly move away from punitive measures and shift towards positive discipline. And some of us don't think it will work. And we don't know that it will work because we've never tried it, okay? I will focus on explaining consequences, setting clear expectations, and guiding my tween or teen through understanding their actions. If you wondered what positive discipline was, that is it, okay? So you engage, and you can't engage. In fact, I learned that you, rather than correct, connect. So connect with your young one. Connect with your tween. I certainly will be doing that if I was parenting in 2023. I will connect instead of investing too much time and energy in correcting. And so for those of you in under the sound of my voice, who want clarity on what I mean by punishment, I'm saying avoid at all costs physical punishment like smacking. Avoid it like a plague. And some of us, that's all we know, or that's all we've known. And in many ways, myself included, so you don't feel isolated, certainly not the my desire today to mount guilt and shame. No, absolutely not. This is positive. But I'm saying avoid at all costs physical punishment, which includes smacking. Like I said, we've grown to understand that smacking has a place. And I'll tease you a bit and go to what the Holy Scriptures say about this too, so that you don't think I'm compromising or I'm ignoring what Scripture says. No. I'll break it down. Just humor me and stay with me for a little while longer, okay? So those who need clarity, what do you mean by punishment, Pastor Law? I'm saying avoid at all costs physical punishment, which includes things like smacking, okay? Avoid it. Instead, I will recommend what I've mentioned several times now, positive discipline methods. And you'll get tired of this word, such as communication. Communicate with your young one. Speak to your young one. Set boundaries and use consequences of missing those boundaries or breaking the rules. Use those consequences, to promote learning. Let it be a situation where they break the rule or they cross the boundary and you use it as a teaching moment, a development moment, a connecting moment. That's positive discipline. And this is what I'm encouraging you to do. So help you, God, because I know that it can't be easy, for us to do. All right? Explain consequences. But those consequences, once explained, should promote learning. Let there be opportunities to teach through the breaking of the rules or missing the boundaries. I hope you're following me, and you don't. Anyway, you can always rewind if you need to, okay? So I'm hearing my folks in the faith, my brethren in the faith asking, how do you, Pastor Law, how do you reconcile biblical teaching with this approach that you are recommending? Okay? Now, the interpretation of biblical teachings on discipline, they vary. They vary among individuals and religious traditions. While some may point to verses, which I will share with you shortly, verses that emphasize discipline, others, I've learned, will emphasize scriptures or verses that emphasize love, compassion, and understanding. And so you ask yourself, which one is right, which is wrong? So it's important to approach biblical teachings with a broader understanding. Note that word, broader understanding, not a misinterpretation, but a broader understanding. Considering, this is the magic, cultural and historical context. Okay? Many modern interpretations of discipline focus on positive guidance, and this might shock some of you. Really? Many modern interpretations of what Bible says, they focus on positive guidance and teaching rather than punitive measures, all right? But ultimately, personal beliefs and values shape how one integrates religious teachings into their parenting approach, okay? So in view of my parenting approach in 2023, if I had the opportunity, actually I do, my parents won over. But yes, these are the things that I will do in 2023. I'll certainly be encouraging anyone who cares to listen. So I'm going to show you some Bible verses that are often cited. This is a guide. If you've been on this platform again for a minute, you know that this is all from the foundation of my walk with God. Okay? I am influenced by what I know to be true in the Holy Scriptures. And so when I'm speaking to you, or when I'm talking about this epiphany, the life that I'm leading is constantly evolving. And I'm so happy that I've landed here today. Tomorrow I'll be in another place in terms of experience and plans. Okay? That's why I'm bringing Holy Scriptures. I don't want to make this into a church program. But ultimately, that's my drive. And I know it to work. Okay? Let me show you some Bible verses, that are often cited in discussions about discipline. The first, it's so common, is Proverbs 22:6. It says, start children off on the way. I'm reading from the NIV. Start children off on the way they should go. And even when they are old, they will not turn from it. Because that suggests the discipline. You're starting them off on the right foot. And so the impression there is that you're disciplining them, you're nurturing them, and so forth. Okay? Another verse or scripture would be Proverbs 13:24, again from the NIV. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. And the last one, again, that speaks for itself. The word discipline is in there, so you can make of it what you ought to. The third, and it's just the third that I'll love us to use, is no discipline seems pleasant at the time. It actually goes on to say, but painful. Later on, however, Holy Scriptures tell us that it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Okay? So Scripture talks about discipline, but it's clear that many folks, again, I'm referring to the continent that I've grown and been nurtured in. I can't speak for this culture because I didn't grow up here necessarily. But I know that in our culture, discipline was a thing, and many of these scripture verses that I've shared with you were ones that I knew too well. But it's essential to approach these verses I've shared with you with consideration, again, of the broader context and diverse interpretations within various religious traditions. And that's crucial. Crucial that you understand exactly that, okay? Many scriptures also emphasize love. They emphasize understanding in conjunction with discipline. And that's why we cannot take our eyes off the ball, because it is important to see that, okay? So I've told you what I would do in 2023 if I had the opportunity to parent a tween or a teenager. It would be nice to know what you would do, because ultimately we want to do the best and the right thing by our young ones. I'm on this journey of unlearning so many things that I picked up whilst I was being groomed. My father and mother loved me so much to make me the person, through the help of God, evidently, that I am today. And so I'm not rubbishing what they did. I just know that there's a better way. There's a refreshingly better way to do the things that we picked up from our folks. It's interesting, and I'll end with this. It's interesting that when we approach the place of marriage, when man and woman, myself, my wife, when we took on this, thing called marriage, apart from the marriage classes that we may have received or been a part of, I can't even remember whether we did that. It was later on that I saw it being introduced. But ultimately, many of us did not go to school or a school of marriage. We just got married. And we were piloted by our love. Our love informed many decisions, wrong or right, that we make or made at the time. And like, again, I mentioned in the video that I released last week about the epiphany, the fact that I've turned out okay does not, and this will help some of us release some of those, myths. The fact that I'm okay or that you are okay does not mean that the method used to train you or discipline you was the right method. And if we can divorce ourselves from that myth, we will open ourselves up to this new approach. Note that I call it a refreshing approach. It's positive, it's intentional, and it is conscious. You are in play. You are in play as a parent. And that's what I would do if I had the opportunity to do it all over again. And my emphasis is on teaching tweens and teenagers, because that seems to be the most difficult and noisy stages of our kids' development. When they're younger, there's some things that we do that people won't query us necessarily because they don't know at all. But once they start showing signs of understanding what they're doing, we must adapt. Okay? I know this is a departure from what we talk about on this platform, tech, scams and all that. I make no apology for this, digression, because it still will help our kids, because we are empowering parents to do something different. I know your kids will love me for what I'm doing. I know. Well, I hope so. I've been your host. Until next week, God bless and goodbye.